Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for the segment, we have Coffey, Market Strategist with TD Ameritrade, to discuss the February reading for the Investor Movement Index. The IMX is TD Ameritrade's proprietary behavior-based index aggregating Main Street investor positions and activity to measure what investors actually were doing and how they were positioned in the markets. It is great to see you as always, Alex. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me. And kind of an interesting divergence built in the IMX versus the overall market's performance for the February period. Of course, this is the 4-week period that ended on the 24th. So capturing the majority of the month of February, of course, which saw a little bit of weakness in the overall market. The NDX, for example, finished down 1.62% during the February period, but over 6.5% off of its highs for the month. The IMX, however, moved higher by 6%, reaching its highest level since August of last year, coming in at 4.57, starting both consecutive months for 2023 in an upwards trajectory after bottoming out the last 2 months of last year at a reading of 417, which was the lowest reading since basically the peak fear of the pandemic timeframe in that March-April 2020 timeframe. So certainly that sentiment on the retail side seems to slowly but surely be building back up off of multi-year lows.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly how it plays out for the month of March, considering the testimony that we heard from Powell today, and we saw how the markets reacted off of that. But what I thought was interesting for the month of February, Alex, is a lot of the top buys and sells, they largely included Nasdaq 100 components.
Yeah, and this isn't entirely uncommon. Some of the most sought after, most traded names do, of course, find themselves listed in that Nasdaq 100 index. A lot of the kind of key mega cap tech companies in particular, of course, big components of the NDX. But as you mentioned, yeah, some of the top buys, Tesla, kind of a pretty regular, either on the buy or the sell list, just so widely traded. But interesting is that the stock itself went up about 10% during the month. Obviously, it's had a incredible start to the year, but there was some negative headlines swirling. Recalls of 360,000 vehicles, if we use that term, of course, regarding some software issues, but still one of the most net bought names by TD Ameritrade clients. Microsoft has been another name that's been sort of front and center of headlines. The AI, Chat GPT, Open AI investment has really been a huge driver of interest in Microsoft and some other names. Even with that hype sort of falling to the wayside, at least from a headline standpoint, Microsoft was still one of the most net bought names, even though it was unchanged on the month. Alphabet's another one that ties into this conversation, obviously attempting a rollout of its own, not going quite as smoothly, but also a lot of the products, particularly Google in the search realm, being seen as one of those key marketplaces that AI could disrupt. So that's weighed on some of the trading activity in a name like Alphabet, at least in terms of price performance. The stock itself was actually down 10% in the period, but it was still a net bought name, still a key player. It's still one of the big mega cap names, and not entirely uncommon to see retail clients step in and buy into weakness in some of those big names when they have that chance.
Yeah, I mean, I've even noticed on the millennial buys and sells as well, electric vehicles seems to be the top sector that they look to go to.
Yeah, no doubt. Tesla, of course, headlines that, but names like Rivian oftentimes will find themselves getting that interest. You'll also see, of course, some of those Chinese marketplace names, the Li Autos of the world, the Neos of the world, oftentimes pretty active as well. But even the legacy players, the Fords, the GMs, have gotten activity really build up over the last year or two. On the net sell side, though, one of the ones that really stuck out to me was Warner Brothers. It was one of the strongest performers in the market in January, Jill, and actually built on that a little bit as well, coming into February up 4% during the period, largely due to its rollout of its big Harry Potter game. So it's kind of gotten hype, and I think it really highlights the key theme so far in 2023 on the sell side. And I have a couple other examples of this as well. it's been the outperformers. TD Ameritrade clients are using the opportunity to reduce exposure in the names, for the most part, that have had red hot starts to the year.
All right. Appreciate the insight as always, Alex. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.